Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so it's recording. So I'll just I'm opening, so I'll get that part started here. Okay. Okay. Just want to thank everybody for being here for our Latinx Spanish speaking outreach. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and for our group to give a presentation. So the agenda, there's just three basic parts to it. I'm going to give a short intro on our Latinx Catholic outreach. And then the actual presentation by our two very talented presenters. And then we'll have a Q&A after that. So just by way of introduction, how we kind of came about. We're an outgrowth of CCL's Catholic Action Team. And we had our first meeting coming up on a year in April. 2020 was our first. And the group presently has about 20-ish members. I'd say 10 are active and 10 are, come and go. And but we have two very talented presenters that you'll get a chance to see today, and an awesome intern. We've been blessed with two interns since we started, and we have another one now. Some background. The U.S. Latino population tends to be predominantly Catholic, and interestingly, statistically, 77% of them understand that the Earth is warming. The warming of the Earth is caused by humans, which is, it's interesting in the fact that it's different with white Catholics. White Catholics, I don't know, I think it's between 50 and 60% are what you would call skeptical. So we have a demographic here who's on board with believing that the Earth's problems are being caused by humans. And then Pope Francis's encyclical Laudato Si is a great springboard for Catholic engagement and action, and they tend to hold the Pope in quite high esteem. And the Latino demographic is presently underrepresented in CCL, something that we obviously would like to help out with. And so our goal is to grow CCL's Latino Hispanic membership, both within the Catholic Action Team and all other groups, frankly. So activities, what are we involved in? We're promoting communication with other CCL groups. And what that means right now is ongoing the Latino Action Team. We're working to kind of get a better dialogue between ourselves and help each other out. In the future, what we're hoping for is that there'll be a conservative group of Latinos. That's kind of in the early stages that that's been started up. And the business climate leadership has also kind of reached out a little bit towards Hispanic businesses, and that's another area of potential growth. We're scheduling presentations right now to both Catholic and secular groups, parishes, universities, Newman centers, but it doesn't have to be. We're also going to secular. We'll present to anybody that wants to have us, and that's it's been a good thing. We actually start out really slow, and now we've got several bookings in the future, in the near future. Okay. I don't know. Okay, sorry. We're investigating communication options as well. Social media is one that we'd like to help out with, and other communication outlets. My understanding is that there's some really, in some cities, there's some really good Spanish newspapers. So that's something else we may try to get the message out to. And we're developing a Google Docs library of Spanish Catholic climate references. And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about here. Some reference examples. Now, if you go to our database in the Google Docs, you can find both Juan's and Valentina's videos. They have got a couple, it's actually a little less than 2 minutes, great advertisement for the type of presentations that we can offer. And the other thing is Steve Coleman, one of our co-founders, he's got a great booklet, Catholic Response to Global Warming. And this is a booklet that it's free. I mean, you can download it. There's the booklet's about 24 pages long, and you can download it for free. And if you want a hard copy, that's something that we can get to you as well. You just have to contact us through one of the presenters or through our website, actually a Catholic Action Team site. But his booklet is broken down to the Catholic voice. You know, kind of gives the Laudato Si message, goes briefly into the science, and then talks about the solution. You know, put a price on carbon, and then the call to action, where he talks about the EICDA and support for HR 763. That's actually it is consistent with Catholic social teaching, and you're going to hear more about that through Juan and Valentina. So where can you find this? If you go into the CCL community, you go to the Action Team Live, actually connect with others, and you can find the Action Team directory. And within that, under faith groups, there's Catholic. And what we'd love to see you do is register as a Catholic or for the Catholic Action Team. And then once you register, then you'll have access to this page, this landing page for the Catholic Action Team. So it's got 3 columns in there on the left side of these drop-down menus, but in the center is, you know, about us. It tells you kind of what we do. And then if you actually go further down the center, it says more info. You can see that there within that is the Latino Catholic Outreach Resources. There's a general Google Drive access, and then you can pull up all of our resources. I'm not going to go into any of that detail, but they're all, we're developing a pretty nice, and even the presentations like this one that you'll be able to pull up. So as far as our speakers today, Valentina Harmjanz she grew up in a Mexican-German family in New Delhi, India, and then moved to North Texas. She became involved with CCL in 2016 through her university chapter at UT, University of Texas in Dallas, and is now studying medicine and public health at UT Southwestern Medical Center. And she credits her family, faith, and friends as her greatest source of inspiration. And then Juan Rios, he joined CCL in 2019, received a degree from film and TV from the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, and in New York City, where he currently lives. He's a liaison for Congresswoman Yvette Clarke in New York State, and a diversity ambassador for the Northeast and Appalachian regions with CCL's diversity team. And he gets his inspiration to advocate for a livable world from his family. So I'm going to pass the baton over to them to give the rest of the presentation today.
Thank you so much, Roger. We're very excited to be able to present today and share a little bit about what we do as presenters for the Latino Action Team. And here we go. So just to let you know, there are many ways to present, of course, to a Latino Catholic audience. So if you have more ideas or input for us, we would love to hear it just to improve. And also, if you know of anyone that wants to present and make a presentation of their own, kind of with their perspective to it, that would be like amazing if you wanted to join us as a presenter. So really quick, just before we get started on our presentation, I wanted to let you know that CCL actually has a website all in Spanish. So the same CCL website that we have is in Spanish as well. It's climavivible.org. So just to show you that it's the exact same website as we have. And here up top above the join us button, you can actually switch it from Spanish to English. So that's something really neat to be able to reach out. Even if you don't speak Spanish, you can point Spanish speakers to this and they can find out a lot on their own. And then I won't go into that right now, but we have like the outward facing side, which is a CCL just website, citizensclimatelaw.org. And we have CCL community, which is just for members and it's free to join, of course. But once you join that, there's a lot of resources. All the resources that we have in English, we currently have in Spanish as well. So it's pretty easy to be able to reach out to people who speak Spanish through that. And there's a lot out there that we hope you would get excited about using, especially after hearing this talk. And we're going to just give a presentation to a Catholic audience, so Latino Catholic audience that Juan and I have been giving to various people just across the US. So we're going to start out just talking about what is happening to our common home and how Catholics see that, and introduce a solution and some ways that you can help. So just briefly wanting to kind of talk about creation. Like we Catholics believe that we were all created as one large global family here on this earth. And wanted to ask if anyone here knows what this picture is on the left. You could put it in the chat. See, I could probably pull up the chat too.
I think I know. Yeah.
Okay, so I think y'all know these are monarch butterflies right here, and we see that they can they pollinate our fruits, especially this one right here, which I love, the avocado, and that is actually a fruit in Mexico that that is pollinated by the monarch butterfly. So that's kind of that connection between the different parts of nature. And then we also see how we have jobs that are brought by outdoor jobs, agricultural jobs across the US and across Latin America. And right here is the jungle in Panama. And I think it's a beautiful jungle. And a lot of other people think so too. So they actually go down there for tourism. So again, we see how nature brings us jobs, it brings us beauty, and we're very much connected with it. So Pope Francis, he took his name by because of Saint Francis of Assisi, who really praised all of creation and was also very interested in listening to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. So that is what Pope Francis made his mission, is promoting this. And he wrote an encyclical, a letter to all the people of the world to promote this care for our common home, both Catholics and non-Catholics. So what is happening to our home? So Pope Francis puts it this way: when one does not recognize the value of a poor person, of a human embryo, or a person with a disability, it becomes difficult to listen to the cries of nature. So really he talks about how just everything that we see right now happening in the world is very much connected. And so if you're working in any of these areas here, that's a fantastic job because we need work in these areas. But today we're going to be focusing on climate change because it envelops everything in the world. So if we try to solve climate change, we can help all of these other problems that kind of arise out of our indifference and towards each other. So just a brief overview. I'm sure we all know here just what exactly is climate change, but sometimes it's good to step back and briefly explain it to people. It's basically, it's as if we had a blanket around our earth that warms it up, and this blanket is these gases called greenhouse gases. So kind of think about what happens if you're in a car with closed windows. All that light comes in, it gets really hot, the heat enters and just gets stuck. So to stop this, we want to put in less of these gases into the atmosphere. So for example, we can burn less fossil fuels that produce these greenhouse gases. So this climate change affects all of us, and especially the most vulnerable people, people with less resources, also older adults, which I work with a lot in my medical school. And in some areas of the world, this heat causes extreme droughts, and then all that water gets dumped in other areas in extreme floods. And I'm sure you all in Florida have seen that just recently. So this again affects especially the most vulnerable. And in Central America this past fall, we saw how Hurricane Iota and Hurricane Eta were really displacing so many of our brothers and sisters and destroying their homes, and now they are looking for new homes. So this is causing damages in many areas of the world that is closely connected to our communities as well. So what can we do? So in Catholicism or Christianity, we talk about just if we start something big, we want to start with prayer and ask God, how do you want me to help with this problem? So after we ask that, we can see we've already been doing a lot of things that are pretty helpful. For example, if we have a meal together as a family, we probably tell our children to say thank you to the person who cooked the meal. So just that kind of gratitude toward each other and also toward the food that we consume is a great start. And then using public transportation, if it's available to us, or saving power, saving on heat, that saves money for us and it helps the planet. And just teaching those around us kind of to spark that curiosity for nature and just appreciate that beauty. However, Pope Francis also mentioned it's great to do things just by ourselves, but this is a problem that affects the whole world and the whole country. So we need to do solutions that are together. We need to work together as a community to address this problem. So what kind of solution could exist that just encompasses everyone, right? So Pope Francis puts it this way: so the economic and social costs of using shared environmental resources must be fully borne by those who incur them and not by other peoples or future generations. So polluters have to pay. And of course, we need to hear both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. No one gets left behind. That's what makes up a good climate solution. Question is there a solution like that? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is hope. I found a solution that I really like here with Citizens Climate Lobby that meets all these criteria, and I'm going to pass it off to Juan to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Valentina. So, yes, Valentina, what you said is true. There is hope, and there is a solution to answer to the cries of the poor and to satisfy the message of the Pope. And our solution is CCL's solution, the Energy, Innovation, and Carbon Fee. So it is currently not HR 763 that will be reintroduced into Congress, but it is a bipartisan climate solution. And it is the Energy, Innovation, and Carbon Fee and Dividend Act. And it is faithful to the principles recommended by the Pope. And currently it is receiving support from some members of even the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. So these are overall the benefits of the solution and what it will compromise in each section. So it is effective. It is good for the people, the vulnerable. It is good for the economy. It is bipartisan, so it is receiving Republican and Democratic support, and it is revenue neutral. And we're going to be going into more detail as to how it does have all of these benefits and all of these incentives. So how does it work? So the benefits are, as I mentioned before, it is good for the people. It will promote a healthier environment. So today, there are currently, as of now, more than 100,000 lives are being lost each year due to the air pollution. And if we do implement this solution, we would expect to see more lives saved. Statistically, at least 295,000, at least through 2030, because of better air quality. It is good for the economy. There will be jobs created. Today, there are $240 billion in annual costs from environmental and health harms of fossil fuels. And in the future, if we start to switch to a more green economy and we implement more task force that are going to protecting the environment, we want to see at least 2.1 million jobs created over the next 10 years in local communities. And also, we hope that it will be effective, that families will get paid, and it is effective, yes. So we hope to see the families will get paid today by implementing, there will be a dividend in our solution. So currently there are no families being paid today in households and carbon dividends. And in the future, as we increase the tax price, which we will discuss in a moment as to what our solution is, we hope to see an annual dividend for a family of 4 in 10 years of at least 4,410. And these dividends will be going to people that are impacted highly by environmental justice. So we want to meet a lot of environmental justice needs with our solution by giving back to the cries of the poor, as Valentina mentioned earlier. Our solution is going to fit in well with people who really need it and people who are mostly impacted by climate change and who are the most vulnerable. It is effective, and we hope to see less carbon emissions over the next 12 years. So finally, I went over all of the benefits. So now let's explain how this process will work. So our solution is carbon pricing. That is what we to do, and we want to have a market-based solution. So we will charge a fee on fossil fuels at the source, like how Valentina mentioned earlier, the polluters pay. And that's what the Pope is saying to us. The people who are responsible are the ones who should pay. So they will implement a fee on more emissions, and over the years, this fee will increase, and we hope to have a shift in the economy from most companies, instead of using fossil fuels, they'll use more environmentally beneficial solutions. So we want to go electric, wind, or solar power. And through the years, over the next 10 to 12 years at a slower pace, as we continue to increase the tax and we charge a higher demand, we hope that the companies will shift into a more environmental friendly source for use of energy. And this tax, the government will not keep it. It will return to 100% of net revenue to households as a dividend that I mentioned earlier. So over the years, as we charge more in the tax, the more dividend the environmentally impacted families are going to receive. And thus, that is how we will meet the needs of the cries of the poor. It does have a carbon border adjustment, and it has a limited regulatory adjustment. So imported goods are subject to the same carbon fee at the border, and there will be a narrow regulatory pause on only the greenhouse effect for CO2 for 10 years. And it avoids doubling up on penalties, so it gives policy a chance to meet ambitious targets. And if we hope that they'll plan change, because if the targets aren't met, these regulations and the legislation will make sure that these regulations snap back in full force after the evaluation. So to put all that into a simple sentence, so polluting energy, we want to make it more expensive, increase the tax over the next years. So hopefully companies will shift to a cheaper, more environmentally friendly, cleaner energy. And by doing that, we will have helped with climate change. We will have met the cries of the poor, and not just of people, but also animals as well. Environments that are impacted by climate change, and even will help Mother Nature herself. So how can we help? How can you get involved? How can you get involved after hearing all of this information? What are some easy ways to get started as to how to promote CCL's solution? So some of the easiest ways you can do is first to spread the word about our solution. You can speak with people that you know and tell them more about our solution and how it meets the cries of the poor, how we want to have a market-based solution, and how we want to promote carbon pricing. You can contact your government officials. You can speak to or call your member of Congress and let them know that you support CCL's solution. You support a carbon fee and dividend, and you can ask signatures of support from local businesses, endorsements. We greatly appreciate if local businesses can endorse our solution, especially from businesses that are being impacted by climate change, and even local businesses, small businesses are ones that we really hope can get behind our solution as well. So also, the main message that I want to leave with all of you, with you, Rick. The message that I want to leave is that we are all connected, and I want to leave this all with everyone. We're all connected, not just ourselves, but with the environment and with everything that shares this world with us. And that's what CCL is all about. We're all about a volunteer work. As the Pope mentioned earlier and how Valentina explained, we have a community effort. The Pope wants us to have a community effort in restoring this, and that's all that CCL is about. It's about volunteer work, teamwork, and all of us are without pay. We do not seek payment from any of this. We all do this on our own work and our own time and our own dedication to make a livable world for everyone. And that is why I really like CCL. We're all connected in this world, and we all want to make sure we have a livable world for future generations. So what's your plan of action? Now we want to speak about this. Some of your plans of action that you can start even from today. Some things that you can do is a personal ecological conversion. You can convert it into a prayer. You can have your own personal prayer and you can begin to believe. You can also act individually by talking to your friends and neighbors about climate change and Laudato Si, which is the Pope's message, as I mentioned earlier, to spread the word. That's some of the best things you can do right now. And you can also join us by advocating for an effective national policy with CCL.
Right, thank you so much, Juan. So now kind of going back, thank you, going back to just our action team and our outreach group here. So we would love to have anyone who's interested participate and help us reach the Latino community. Like Roger was mentioning earlier, it's great to be able to reach out to the Latinos, and we need manpower to do it. So pretty much we're looking for someone who, if you have contacts or friends or connections with the Spanish speaking Latino community, or the Catholic community, if you can help set up an event in your own parish or your own community, your own CCL chapter even, if you just want to spread the word about our group to your personal friends or people you work with, if you're bilingual and you want to be a presenter, that would be amazing. And then if you just want to join in on our meetings that we have, kind of our planning meetings, to give input, bounce off some ideas, and just help us drive our mission forward, any of these would be very much appreciated. So just, you can help us write more of these success stories. So very excited. Actually, here, someone on this call right here was at this event in Madison that they put on. They had a recording of Juan and I gave a presentation, and they put on a recording with a small group of people, around 5 or so. So it was a small audience, but they really got to talk about climate change, and people who went to the event ended up writing postcards to their representatives to start taking action right away. So it's just a small step, but a great one to start building that community. And we would love to help bring that to your community as well, if you're interested. So you're invited to our next meeting. We have monthly meetings. The next one is March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to put your, scan this code and put your email in, give us your email in the chat, or just connect with us some other way. We are very thankful for listening to us today, and hope that you will join us. Thank you.